Hello, you are listening to Everyday Superpower, the place where we talk body language, relationships, game, and so on and so forth. Two links down in the description of this video. One of them will take you to the dictionary of body language, it's a playlist I've done, as to where you'll learn the A to B to Z to everything of how to read people through their subconscious behaviour. Second to that is the Patreon, as to where you will watch live dates with me. I'll break down the behaviours you see before you. You'll recognise that, you'll take that into the real world. Now, let's keep going. Topic for today, right? Let me have a look at my notepad. I made a little note. I've got a few things to finish off. I made a note saying it's so much easier to meet women in your social life rather than approaching. Okay, so people talk about cold approach and stuff like this, going and just introducing yourself to people off a whim. Doesn't necessarily work as easy as that. I mean, it is easy if you can do that and you can come across in a non-threatening behavior. But this is one of the key highlights I want to speak on. Threatening behavior, okay? Now, when I was young, I used to believe that a degree of threat was actually quite exciting, showcased you as masculine, powerful, and so forth. And arguably, later on down the line, to shake things up, you can highlight and accentuate that. Quality of your character. Now, that's not to say you are to become like literally a threatening, abusive person, but to showcase an area of the shadow that you don't necessarily show the real world. We are men, we do have this fire within us, and that we're forced to hide due to what society deems appropriate or tells us to do. What our councils and what our governments tell us to do, because otherwise they would have an issue, right? That's the real reason. But when we engage with women who are part of a social group, part of a tribe, so to speak, it's a better position to start, because you may be pre-qualified through other people, and there is an air of familiarity that you won't get from going from 0 to 100, just becoming out of the blue and approaching someone in that manner. And arguably, there are degrees to this. So let's say social media, not social media, like dating apps, for example. When you communicate with someone on a dating app, yeah, in a way it's cold, but they have been able to see your profile, your photos, maybe done a bit of background on you, dependent on what you've given up online, prior to engaging further, or prior to meeting you in person. All right, they can sort of garner some extent of familiarity, which they wouldn't be able to do so if you were to just spring up on them out of nowhere, you know? And when I talk about levels, we're even going in a development sort of perspective. Let's say, for example, you meet someone or get speaking to someone who you've never met before. As time goes by, the seconds to the minutes, they will start to feel more familiar with you, because subconsciously they will be assessing, analyzing, and perceiving you on a deeper level than they are even aware of themselves, right? So if you've come across overt and overtly sexual, and when it comes to that, that links into the neediness factor, the Mr. Nice Guy, and so forth. Then they're going to be repulsed by you as opposed to attracted by you. Whereas if you have engaged with them on a strictly person to person basis, and allowed your natural biological pull to do the work, all right, you find her attractive. She's going to find you attractive when you don't approach her in that manner, because she can make her own mind up, right? She doesn't need to be negotiated with to find you attracted. You can't negotiate attraction. So we're speaking on familiarity, and we're speaking on threatening behaviors. And like I said, when it comes to a social group, potentially, given that you're in good stead and you communicate well with your peers, they may have spoken about you in a good light, right? And even if they've spoken to you in a negative light, as long as you've not like a crazy nut job, if they've spoken to you maybe in an envious manner, your peers, and so forth, there's still going to spark a preemptive interest in you that they won't have got given you just came out of the shadows, came out of the blue, just became nothing to something. All right? You've already turned the cogs in their imagination. And the imagination of a woman, the fascination of a woman, is way more broad and wonderful than that as ours as a man. That woman needs that imagination in order to survive, okay? She needs to think deeper and go into the character and behaviours and the recognition of pattern of the masculine in order to ensure that she is able to survive in this world where any man, generally speaking, could lift her up or violently, create a problem for her and her existence and her survival and her replication. Make sense? So, when we approach indirectly, diagonally, instead of fully frontally and boldly, we create more space to maneuver. And those preemptive thoughts they have may be right or wrong. But she'll have to work that out. So she'll be interested in working that out because we as human beings need to understand that which we don't understand can really bug us, can really bother us. And that's why the mysterious individual, the enigma of a person becomes fascinating and to the highest degree becomes a object of worship. Because we engage the minds of those around us, and what's easily sussed, easily worked out is plain original. Well, not original in a great sense, but in an original crisps or chips if you're American sort of sense. We don't possess flavor. We don't possess the characteristics that can apply to a niche market, and that niche market is our market, our sexual market, our pull, those which align with us, that which fall in love with us because we possess the characteristics and the archetype of that which those particular groups of people desire. Now, there's nothing wrong with approaching people, given you have the momentum, the mindset, and the power to do so. It's very uncomfortable for a lot of people because it's stranger danger, right? We have an inbuilt component that actively works against us in doing this. But you whittle away from that, given you're already of some degree of familiarity with somebody through mutuals, if not mutuals of mutuals, and so forth. There's varying degrees of this awareness. Secret agents, sleeper cells will find them ways into communities, into organizations, by slowly and surely appearing on the radar of others, whether it just be passing someone in the street, to a lesser degree of just being an existence in the peripheral of somebody waiting at a bus stop, right? As other people go to work. And then a week down the line, 2 weeks down the line, they may cross each other on the path or so on and so forth. And then they may engage with a head nod. And then they start to become accustomed and understanding of people to the point where they can have communication in a more familiarized manner because they become familiar. Oh, this person works in a pattern. I shouldn't be afraid of them. Oh, this person has acknowledged my existence. I remember them from the other day. They must be friendly, right? Whereas if that agent was going to try to enter an organization by strictly walking up to a criminal and saying, I want to participate, first and foremost, how do you know that about me and who I am? And secondly, you're hot. You're way too brazen. It's like the narcissist love bombing somebody. You're coming on too strong all at once, even though you are coming across as positive, or at least trying to display that. My survival mechanism, my gut feeling, my intuition is telling me that there is something wrong with you. There is a deep-seated opposite as to what you're trying to portray. The overt dynamic of going fully frontal and engaging with a woman in the potential of sexually engaging with her, there is the counterbalance of energy, which is dark. And it's way too early to be expressing that darker energy when you initially engage with someone. You're going to come across as weird and you're going to shut them off. You need to pre-exist as an entity they are somewhat familiar with, but are interested in. So they don't know the ins and outs of you. They never will understand you fully. You'll always have a different layer to reveal to them when the time is right. But you're not a stranger. You have provoked food for thought, the forbidden fruit. On that note, I'm signing out. Click like and subscribe. Peace.